What's going on, Polo Sports Talk and Entertainment? Back again with another one. Be sure to hit that like button, sub to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notifications so that you're able to get all of my content as well as all of my videos. Baker Mayfield has elected not to go to the Cleveland Browns um, off-season off-season voluntary meeting. Um, or voluntary off-season program rather. And this is according to Pro Football Network's Aaron Wilson. Okay, um, and it begins today, right? Now, there's there's a reason why. Now, before I get into everything, let me just give y'all the backstory if y'all don't know. Okay, um, Baker Mayfield, who, despite having a messed up shoulder, he showed a gutsy season this season. Now, in terms of his numbers wise, he did not do that good. Okay, um, especially when you consider last year. I'm saying the year before last. Okay, he did not show or display good numbers. Okay, and so of course Baker Mayfield this year and going into the off season or whatnot, there was speculation, a lot of speculation about what was going to happen and everything. And he went ahead, he got his money and everything. But at the same token, Deshaun Watson, the situation was being looked at from afar, and he was actually, the Browns were a potential landing spot for Deshaun Watson, and they made it happen. And Baker Mayfield felt some type of way about it. Okay. Now, a lot of people know that I support, Baker Mayfield. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, what I'm saying? I'm loyal, but at the same token, I'm objective too. And Baker brought it on himself. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we can't help injuries. We can't help, stuff that takes place or getting hurt on the field. Sometimes now it's your decision whether you want to get out there and play, and it's your decision. What's up with it, True Viking Queen? I see you in the building. It's your decision on whether or not you want to get out there and play. It's your decision out if you want to get out there and take that sort of risk. You know, um, but the fact that you're feeling salty about the organization wanting to move on, look, you've had chances to prove yourself. Okay, you've had chances to prove yourself, and not only that, when they're looking at it from a longevity standpoint, and also they're looking at it from a short term standpoint too. Look, the Browns want to win now, okay, and you can't be mad at the fact that they wanted to meet with Deshaun Watson. Now you're doing all this, you're feeling some type of way and everything. And see, what you should really be doing is being professional. Okay, you shouldn't take it as no slap in the face. What you should do is be professional. And if you feel like you're the better quarterback, if you feel like you're the franchise quarterback, you got to go out there and you got to prove it. I mean, they hadn't picked anybody, yet as far as the depth chart, and then on top of that, you still have, chances to prove yourself at the beginning of the season. Provided that Deshaun Watson has a 6-game suspension. So why are you sitting there acting this way? Now, here's the twist to all of this. The Carolina Panthers are showing interest, and many people believe that he'll go ahead and he'll go to Carolina. Now, how will he thrive in Carolina? I don't know, but at the same token, we have to look at this. Carolina's rebuilding pretty much. They're rebuilding as an organization. They try to work things out with Cam. You know that didn't seem to be working. Then on top of that, you have a guy in Donaldson who ended up getting hurt or whatnot. And that pretty much they started off pretty good. Started off, I think, like 3-0 or something like that, 2-0. And then after that, they never could regain and be resilient from where they came from. In terms of being able to get back to starting off pretty good. So, but I'm just saying like this, okay? I don't feel any sympathy for Baker Mayfield, okay? Does he still have? Do I still believe that he has a whole hell of a lot of potential? Yeah, because the one thing that I stand on is that this guy he showed strides in his game. Now, could he be a deep ball thrower? Yeah, and could he have better downfield accuracy? Yeah, absolutely. Nobody has questioned that. You know, but for us to sit here and not be realistic about where he can go and what he can do in terms of as a quarterback or whatever. I mean, come on. Now, there has been stuff that has set him back or whatever. And if I'm Baker right now, what I'm doing is I'm doing everything possible to try to prove everybody wrong. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just my mentality. But we know that Baker Mayfield has an ego that is through this roof. It's why it's brought him to where he's at. It's also possibly could destroy him. The next place that he goes, if he happens to leave, he has to be successful. He has to be successful because it's going to go downhill from there. You know, like a lot of people, they get on me and they'll be like, "Well, Polo, you capping about Baker Mayfield? Why are you on to this guy? Stuff like that." But the reason is because I saw his potential. He's far better than what Johnny Manziel was, and he played a lot better than what Johnny Manziel did when he had got to Cleveland. So I saw a guy that was wanting to get better. You know what I'm saying? And he works hard. Now you might not see him working hard because you see him on the commercials, which I've gotten on him about and everything. But at the same token, there's many other players that do that. you know. But I'm just saying for right now, he pretty much has shot himself in his own foot by his actions from a mental standpoint because he's sitting here and he's getting mad at the fact that Deshaun Watson and I mean you listen from a talent perspective, Deshaun Watson is better. And then also if you throw in the numbers, I mean touchdown to interception ratio was at the highest of the highest order before he had caught that, the little suspension or whatever, or in all these allegations and stuff like that. You know, we got to sit here and we got to think to ourselves, okay, Baker Mayfield leaves. Okay, what is going to be your next step? Because if you go to a place where they're trying to do something new, okay, you're what 4 years in, I think right now. You're 4 years in. Okay, right now teams are expecting you to be somewhat getting to the stage where okay, you should be leading us to close to a conference, a conference championship or possibly a Super Bowl. I mean, getting close to it. You know what I'm saying? Now he did do his thing by taking down the number one squad in the Steelers, and he did it twice in the season. So I know some people probably don't see that as good on his resume, but it was good. It was good. I mean, it's just like when guys talk about like a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo. The reason why I don't sit here and call Jimmy Garoppolo trash and all this other stuff and trash him like everybody else does is because you got to look at it for what it is. Okay, this guy was able, regardless of if it was just a defense, if it was just primarily defense that that held up and it held the San Francisco 49ers up, he still managed the game. And also we like to highlight what the bad stuff that some of these guys are doing. Okay, well, what about when he is throwing the ball accurate and some of these guys aren't catching the ball? Then okay, then you're having a different argument. Then you're having a different story. You can't fully blame that on the quarterback, but as the quarterback is considered the leader, the quarterback is considered the player that everybody looks at. Of course, he's going to take the lion's share of the blame. You know, but I'm not trying to get off our course. Baker Mayfield, it's make or break for Baker Mayfield right now. Okay, no, if I'm Baker Mayfield, what I'm doing is I'm getting better. I'm getting better. You know, you shouldn't even. Okay, if you're that much of a competitor, show them that you're better than Deshaun Watson. Come back faster. Come back stronger. Come back healthier. Come back. Working on your timing. That's the only thing that you could really do. But you going away and you saying, "Oh, you know what? F y'all and all this other stuff." I mean that. Look, they haven't made any promises. And look, I'm not rooting against Deshaun Watson. We do have to be realistic that Deshaun Watson has been away from the game for a while. You know what I'm saying? We got to think about rhythm. We got to think about timing. We got to think about him getting hit. The physicality, everything like that. We got to think about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So how long is it going to take him to get his groove back? And see, you could come back in camp and have a great camp. Have a great couple games or whatever, and then they'll be like, okay, we're winning with Baker or whatever. You never know. I mean, that's what you have to come back and do. But you sitting there, it's not no guarantee because you might go to a situation where things might ultimately end up worse for you. But I don't believe in. I mean, look at Odell Beckham Jr. Everybody thought that Odell Beckham Jr. was the problem and he was the drama king and his father, all this other stuff. Baker, they were making Baker out to be like he was this, guy that could not do no wrong. But guess what? Ended up going to the LA Rams and ended up being successful to where you had people calling him once again, like I repeat it again, people ended up calling him a model citizen. You know, Baker has shot himself in the. And listen, I want to make it clear. Want to make it very very clear. You're talking to a guy that rooted for Baker coming out of college, man. You know what I'm saying? I just saw something in this dude. Like a lot of people will they'll be like, well, how you go from liking a guy like like a Dak Prescott or liking somebody else. What's up with it, Grinder? I see you in the building. How you go from liking him to liking a guy like Baker Mayfield? But sometimes it's not all about you know, being flamboyant and stuff. Sometimes I look at a guy's upside and his potential and what it does. I mean, what it'll do for him. You know, it's like you know when you begin something, you have to go through a maturation process. You know, stuff is gonna make you that much better. Nobody knew that Tom Brady was gonna be what he was. You know, I mean, they might have been like, hey, we could see something here and there, but they didn't truly know that he was gonna be considered one of the greatest to ever do it at that position. You know, but see that's the thing about potential, and that's the thing about evolution, and that's the thing about maturation. You don't know what that's gonna become. It's kind of like when, let's say, when you're doing you have a basketball team, right? What's up with it, Think Tank? I see you in the building. You have a basketball team, okay? And you got your juniors, you got your seniors, and everything. Your upperclassmen that did it, but they not quite winning as much and everything. But then you got your incoming freshmen, and you got some of your sophomores and your underclassmen that they're a little rough around the edges. They still got some stuff to clean up, but at the same token, they're able to show, okay, this guy is more athletic. This guy runs faster. This guy, and more importantly, he's coachable. Well, the coach is going to be like, hey, with some work and with staying with that guy and being able to, not give up on him and putting him through some drills, being able to stay with him during the off season, then you don't know what that guy can become, you know. But we live in a society now, both young and old, where they pretty much give up on a person really, really quick. Oh, nah, man, you know what? Nah, I mean, that's never been my mentality. That's not that. But unfortunately, for uh, different organizations, in the bigger cities and the bigger markets, their patience is very, very thin. You know, um, they're ready to win now. The Browns don't want to be looked at like they used to. Being able to look at these guys as if these guys are pushovers, pretty much. Is there a market for Baker on his contract? When's the deal to Washington? Uh, well, the the Panthers are interested in him, Tank. You know, look, but see, some people might want to. I might get some pushback when I say this, Tank. But really, you're really making things worse if you leave. Because we got to look at it like this, Tank. You have a 6-game suspension that Watson is possibly getting ready to serve, unless he fights that, which I want see to I want him fight. I want him to fight it, especially when you consider Greg Hardy's situation and how he was able to get that overturned. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Baker leaving is actually doing more harm than good, because who's to say he might go to a place where that they're rebuilding, and then next thing you know, they'll be worse than what they were, because the Browns were actually getting somewhere. Not this year, but the year before last. You know what I'm saying? And that was without a full season, especially when you consider without OBJ. Now I'm not talking about this just past season, the season before last, when he was just It was just primarily Jarvis Landry, and they were able to beat you know uh, their rival, their one of their rivals in the Steelers. They beat them twice. And like we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to take place with Deshaun Watson. You know what I'm saying? And this is another thing. Why? Okay, you like out of Liberty. I mean, look, if Carolina, Carolina is going through a lot of. They got a lot of decisions that they have to make. They brought Cam over there with the assumption that things were gonna. Yeah, I just think that Cam has gotten a raw deal. Um, some of it it has to do with health or whatever, and then some of it is him being placed in a messed up situation. But they were everybody was under the assumption that Cam was going to come back and revitalize his career. At least I was, and everything. He did what the league wanted him to do, which was by pretty much taking the jab or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, look, I did what you wanted me to do and stuff. Instead of like, kind of, he stood his ground for a minute like a Kyrie Irving, but he went ahead and just did whatever was necessary so he could get back on the field. Now, in Baker's case, his situation is a little bit different. He got out there, man, and what he could have did, Tank, was he could have just went ahead and had the surgery, in the middle of the season, and just went ahead and called it, hey, done a recovery and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But he chose to get out there and he chose to play like that. So it's like, okay, you could fault the guy for going out there and everything, but at the same token, it's like, okay, well, you made that decision to go out there and you made that decision to play hurt or whatnot, and you possibly could have set your career back just a little bit by you doing that. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, your marketability. So I think a lot of teams are looking at it like, okay, are we going to take a chance on this guy? He's got a big ego. Um, he he brings a lot of drama. You know what I'm saying? Which he does. Because it was a circus while he was there. And then on top of that, you're looking at okay, is he gonna improve? Because he actually declined from the season after last. Yeah, man. Yeah, and he got a bad rap too. And a lot of people don't notice that he had a sensational rookie outputting, one of the best outputtings in terms of throwing the football, but that people don't even talk about. Look, when people come at me and say that Cam Newton, they got to question whether or not this guy is a Hall of Famer. Go ahead and slap yourself for even answering that question. Uh, look, okay. Uh, Cam Newton. Cam Newton came in and I mean pretty much had a 60% completion record. I mean he threw for 20 21. I mean he threw for 4,500 yards. Okay, uh, you know the guy. I mean the guy was sensational, man. And if he was that bad, right? Why was he selected to the Pro Bowl his first season? Okay, why was he selected to the Pro Bowl his first season? His very first season. Okay, I mean came back. I mean came back. He had a. People don't realize this. Think tank. He had a higher completion percentage, which was at 67.9, than what he did when that year that they went, um, the year that they went to the Super Bowl. You know, and it's just ridiculous how they put this guy as a bad. They give this guy a bad rap. And to put the icing on the cake, pretty much. Carolina didn't even have the decency to do anything for this guy. They didn't want to. They didn't want to mark him as one of the best players ever in Carolina history. When he he was one of the ones that got you there, or at least you had a fighting chance. You say got to relax and fall in line. Well, that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. He listen. Baker Mayfield has to. If I'm Baker Mayfield, the first and foremost, you have to get healthy. Okay, like I said in the beginning, if you rewind my stream back, I'm gonna repeat what I just said. You got to get healthy first and foremost, and second off, you don't know what Deshaun Watson is gonna look like. I'm rooting for Deshaun. I want him to be in a good situation. I just want him back out on the field or whatever. But I already know from the press conference and how it went and how they were firing off at questions about the whole allegations and everything. They're not concerned about football. They're concerned about making sure that this guy stays with the stress and the turmoil so that it'll stress him out enough to where they run him out of there, you know, which you have a whole lot of feminists and let's just call it what it is, you have racist people out there too as well. We're better, but Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I felt like um, Saquon Barkley had a better season than Baker Mayfield. But the reason why I rooted for Baker Mayfield is whatever is because I saw, he was tough, man. I mean, he Baker Mayfield was tough, and he did some great plays, especially with you know what the Sooners were able to do. The Carolina Panthers got that old boy ownership, yeah, front office just like the Texans. I can remember. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And if I was Cam, I wouldn't have came back. It's just that's just my personal opinion. I wouldn't have came back. I wouldn't have came back. You know, I mean, the way that you did that to me and slap in the face. I'm the one that led the ship there. I'm supposed to be the franchise guy. You know, I mean, come on, man. Just unbelievable, unbelievable the way they treated Cam Newton. Unbelievable. Oh yeah, always Tank. Look. I mean, these are some. Listen, everybody, look. I'm on the NBA. Don't get me wrong. Shoot, I'm gonna continue to be on the NBA. But believe it or not, man, this is going to be an exciting year of football. Think about it. You have everybody switching over pretty much to the AFC. The AFC is fitting to be really competitive, and it's going to be a lot more parity, more so than ever, because you have all these teams beefing up in the AFC, and then also it's a lot of uncertainty going on because guess what? Where is Baker going to end up? How is Deshaun Watson going to look when he comes back? How is Russell Wilson gonna do, being that he's in a competitive division with the likes of Mahomes, with the likes of Carr, you know what I'm saying, and the likes of Herbert. How is he gonna do? And then on top of that, is Josh Allen gonna be able to come back and be able to try to be the king of the AFC again? Or, I mean, try to do everything that he can to top the AFC or whatever and hold that grudge and bring the Bills back now that they got Von Miller. And Von Miller was a big signing, man. That was a chess move right there. But those are some questions we got to ask, man. But as far as Baker Mayfield, I'm not feeling any sympathy for him. Look, I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. Some people wonder why. I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. You know what I'm saying? But at the same token, I know that Deshaun Watson is better. You said the Chiefs in panic mode. Overtime rules have changed. Well, the Chiefs. Everybody has caught up to the Chiefs. I mean, they lost. Listen, they lost. Um, Tyreek Hill, and on top of that, uh, Tyron Matthew. The way they did him, that was wrong. They should have gave Tyron Matthew that extension. I mean, everybody. This is my last point too, and then I gotta ride out though. Tyron Matthew, with the combination of several guys on that Chief defense, man. If it had not been for those guys last year, they wouldn't have never been. They wouldn't have never even been in it but they got pretty much the lion's share of the blame. But even Patrick Mahomes had said it wasn't the defense; it was the offense. They were not on the same page, and everybody had caught up to them. And even uh what's his name was throwing a lot of interceptions. He threw more interceptions than he did in his entire career. But you don't want to give Matthew, shoot, give a shoot. I'd gladly take Matthew in a heartbeat. That man, he's a dog. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Everybody, if you go to like the average college safety and or a DB, they'll tell you that they study a guy like Matthew. Yeah, I'll take Matthew in a heartbeat. Just like because Carolina. Hold on 1 second, y'all. My bad. Um, having some issues. Oh man, come on, come on. Phone is moving so fucking slow. Oh my god. Nah, but they. Oh my gosh, man. This thing is so fucking slow. All right, my bad, y'all. Okay. Um, you said Baker is not going to off season because when Brown. Well, we know that, Steven. But I mean, we have to look at the bigger picture of what's about to take place. We already know that, and he wants to go there. But what I'm trying to say is that he needs to stick it out. I mean, he needs to stay and stick it out because you never know what could possibly arise um, from this situation. I mean, listen, you got a guy um in what's it called? You got a guy in Deshaun Watson who hasn't played in quite some time, and you could go out in camp and just pretty much obliterate him. Not to say that look, I'm kind of torn because I want Deshaun Watson to go out there, and I want him to have a good career. But see, they just he could be in a great situation in Carolina too, though, Steven. You know why? Because they just signed Stephon Gilmore. He, he has to he has to complete year in year out to keep his job. Yeah, exactly. You mean to compete year in and year out. Watson coming into the Brownfield like it is up in the air. I mean that. Listen, you don't want to have comp. Listen. dog, you're gonna have competition regardless. That's all I was saying. I mean, you can't sit up there and cry about it. You, if you don't show up, you don't produce. They're gonna cut you loose. You don't show up, you don't produce. They're gonna cut you loose. Polo Sports Talking Entertainment. I'll get at y'all later.